Okay, it's 6:33. I do believe will be more people joining, but in respect to everyone who's on the line now, we'll get started. As way of introduction, my name is Joe Webb. I'm with the company AECom. We are the lead consultant for this project. I'm joined on the line by David Crawley and John Crumpton. So we greatly appreciate you taking the time this evening. We know everyone's lives are busy and there's lots of things to compete for our attention, but we certainly appreciate the fact that you take the time to talk about the city of Tampa parks today. The Zoom presentation, if you wish to provide your feedback, we have several different ways to do so. Raise your hand to ask a question or provide a comment during the meeting. We'll hold all the comments to the end, but we will go through and everybody who's raised their hands will, read the question and hopefully be able to answer it. Leave a question or comment in the Zoom chat. Chat questions will be read by the meeting team. John will read those questions for me and we'll try and answer those. Leave a comment on the meeting page, send an email to the link on the meeting page, or you can even provide a text comment by texting S823 to 512-580-8850. So we are here tonight to talk about the City of Tampa Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Something near and dear to my heart. It's been my career. It's what we do. This is a virtual community meeting number 3. We had 2 meetings last week on Tuesday and Thursday. We'll have this meeting this evening and then also on Thursday. We are saying this is Council District 6. That encompasses part of the western portion of the city. That does not preclude anyone from any other part of the city from participating in the meeting. We welcome everyone. We just tried to make it that if, a little more concentrated in different parts of the city so that if people had more specific or more local kinds of ideas, we could focus in across those. But anyone can attend, everyone is welcome. This meeting is intended to focus on parks, facilities, and recreation programs in and around the district, neighborhoods in and around Western Tampa. Again, all comments are welcome, but the map on the right kind of depicts the area that we have roughly outlined. Certainly don't take that as anything limiting, just trying to, again, focus in on this area. So our agenda for today is quite simple. We'll do some introductions of our team, give a brief overview of the project, of what we're intending to do as a Parks and Recreation Master Plan, talk about our public engagement, which is very active right now. This is only one part of our outreach. Then we'll talk about next steps and hopefully have plenty of time at the end for questions and answers. As an introduction, again, we are with AECom. We are a multidisciplinary firm. We're leading this, but we are joined on this effort by a variety of sub-consultants, kind of a mix of national expertise and intimate local knowledge. I think together we bring a lot of expertise to the Tampa area in the area of parks and recreation. Our purpose, maybe you can read this as something from our scope of work, but it is to develop a comprehensive park and recreation system plan that will define the direction, development, and delivery of Tampa's parks and recreation services over the next 10 years. That's a mouthful, but really the key words here are comprehensive, meaning we're looking at everything from facilities to programs to operations to how they fund their programs. So a comprehensive look at it. And then 10 years, we say 10 years, but we really look out further, maybe 20 years, knowing trends and changes that are happening, that we don't wait for 10 years to implement the plan. Our plan will have a 10-year horizon, but there's a 5-year strategic plan and a 1-year action plan that goes with it to get us to those 10 years. As a way of kind of overview, I don't know how many of you have ever participated in a Parks and Recreation System Master Plan, but we see our philosophy in our parks planning group is that great park systems are the framework for building livable and sustainable communities. We really see the park system as a whole as being really integral to building great cities, providing great resources to residents and doing everything, not just the squares neighborhood park that we all may envision, but also including greenways and trails, blueways, great streets, historic sites, conservation lands, waterfronts, and public art. The diagram on the right is for a project in Vancouver, where Vancouver is a very livable, very beautiful city, but it is really defined by its parks. And it's not only Stanley Park, which is this portion up on the top, but it's really their entire waterfront. It's the neighborhood parks. It's the linear parks that connect everything. It's the sum total of what makes it really a great city. This is also an image of a project we just completed for the city of San Diego. And again, in the middle is Balboa Park. And I think most people know of the San Diego Zoo and Balboa Park or have heard of it. But San Diego is much more than that. It's the canyon lands, it's their greenways, beaches, their waterfront. All of that sum total is really what makes San Diego a really great place to be. And also as an objective, the City of Tampa Parks and Recreation Department today is a very good park system. There's nothing to say that it's broken and oh, this is bad. That's not true. It provides quality facilities. It has excellent programs and services. But the really great park systems of the world are really transformational in the communities that they exist in. And they deal with more than just places to play. It's really about health and wellness, conservation, social equity, economic development, smart growth, and certainly for a waterfront community like Tampa, sustainability and resilience are a big part of what we're looking at. The two plans to the right, we're showing the city of Norfolk is a project we worked on. They are a national gold medal winner, the best park system in the country, but really, they took a comprehensive look at their park system and defined what they did based on these really transformational attributes. The image on the right is Miami-Dade County, somewhat similar to Tampa, a Florida city that on the waterfront, many of the same challenges, but it's really been built a 50-year unifying vision for a more livable and sustainable Miami-Dade County. And again, way more than just the parks, it's conservation lands, it's greenways and trails, multimodal transportation. So we take a very comprehensive look at what we consider parks and recreation and within our master plan. So the plan also is our objectives. It's important that we create a great plan that's driven by community needs. That's the phase we're in now. It's got to be visionary and aspirational and provide clear implementation steps. But also the process of going through this sometimes can be very valuable, or often is. It really energizes staff. And I will say without hesitation that working with city staff has been really great. They're very committed, very caring about the community, and they really do want to do the right thing. So that's fun to work with. And they have to be unique. The two plans that are shown here on the side, one is the city of Raleigh. The other is this icon for the Play DC plan we did a few years ago. Two totally different plans, completely different in how they were done, but both driven by community need, both extremely successful, but just unique to the communities that they're in. The Tampa plan will be the same. It's already a different plan, purely tailored to the city of Tampa. So again, we also have to understand as consultants that we're not the only ones working. It's the whole train hasn't stopped to wait for us to do this plan. A lot of other initiatives going on across the city. Our work needs to integrate seamlessly with all the other city initiatives. I mean, the things going on in the city of Tampa with transportation, infrastructure, public realm, economic development, conservation, sustainability and resiliency efforts. You know, there's just a lot happening, a lot of different programs, a lot of different efforts. So we're working rigorously to try and make sure our plan works in parallel to really advance each and every plan. So our process, all planning is actually quite simple. Where are we? Where do we need to be? And how do we get there? We break this down into a kind of a 4-step process of learning, exploring, envisioning, and implementing. Right now, we're in this stage, which we call exploring, which is really our big outreach to the community. We look to the community to define the needs and priorities. What residents need, what are the important elements, and we talk about it not just as what do you want, but really what do you want, what do you need, what's a priority to do first, so that when we get to an implementation phase, we understand not just the wants of the community, but what needs to go first? What are the top concerns? What are the top desires? So we will begin and hopefully be wrapping up this phase by the end of August, beginning on visioning or really setting that vision for the long-term plan in probably the latter part of this year. And then early next year is really a plan to put together the full implementation plan that will get them from where we are today to where we want to be 10 years from now. So our public engagement, lots of stuff going on right now. Our objectives for that always and in every plan, open, transparent, and inclusive process. Our best plans are those where the most people participate. It's really important to us that everyone turns out, that even if you think, you're only one voice, it's very important that everybody's voice be heard. We're making specific efforts to engage underrepresented groups, try to garner balanced input from diverse groups, engaging the department and the city staff. They've been really helpful in not just our outreach efforts, but them paralleling those with everyone that they know and they're engaged with, and then educate the public on the importance of and the role of parks in making great cities. We also like to make it fun, and I do think it can be fun along the way. We are talking about parks and recreation, so in the end, I think most people are pretty excited. Our branding and messaging, your vision for our tomorrow. I think that was a really heartfelt tagline that was developed really by the parks director, that it's your vision for our tomorrow. I think that's an important statement. It really represents our approach and how we see this plan going forward. We're creating kind of a public awareness style campaign around that message to make sure that people understand that this isn't AECOM doing a plan or the city doing a plan. This is us working with the community to develop a plan. They've already had some fun events. I think 4th of July had some things and a tent set up and some other interactions, building on the city's recent efforts in creating safe, accessible engagement avenues through virtual techniques. We know and we pray that COVID is receding and we're trusting that things are starting to get back to normal, but there's still a lot of concern generally in the public. So platforms like this where people can join in safely from their homes, rather than being in a large crowded room, I think are integral to our efforts. And towards those ends, our outreach, these are just a few of the things that we're doing to try and reach out. There's flyers, we have business cards with a QR code so that if a simple handout, you can take a smartphone, be on that QR code and be to your input platform, within seconds. I think people really enjoy that, find it easy. We have press releases out there, handouts, social media, neighborhood engagement, and working with the CRAs to get things out through the newsletters and through the neighborhood associations. So we're making efforts towards the traditionally underrepresented in East and West Tampa, and really trying to also engage elderly and children and recent immigrants in our process. We really do need everyone to participate to get that balanced perspective. So again, public engagement, our project website, I believe everybody on this call probably had to go there to register, but that is really our one-stop shop. That is not just for this public engagement, but it'll be the platform in which we keep people informed as our project proceeds. All the information will be put back to that site at any time. If you're wondering what's going on now, please check back. We can keep project information updates live on there, links to our online survey and to other efforts going on parallel to this. We do understand that being virtual, it can we don't want half the responses coming from remote areas, so we do keep track of that. It's locally within the Tampa area by geocoding the participants. It's not perfect, but it gives us a track to make sure we're hearing from the people most affected. We'll still have the ability to host online meetings, and in the end, all input is consolidated and analyzed for key themes and trends. So again, our virtual meeting, of which this is one, it's about being safe and accessible solutions to meet today's engagement challenges. We used to do a lot of public meetings. I do think this is very effective. People seem to really appreciate being able to go to the website, go to the virtual room, participate 24/7, through a smartphone, easy. It's not always about being available at 6:30 on Tuesday night. Really, if your friends or family members couldn't participate tonight, just ask them to go to the website. It's pretty intuitive. Go to the virtual rooms. You can fully find out about what's going on and participate in the engagement right from there. This is just an image of that virtual room. It's really intended to be immersive so that you can learn how to participate, what the purpose of this project is, effectively walk around the room and be fully participating in the program. This is actually designed around I think it's Seminole Heights, the community center. You are actually looking out the window at that park. The room looks like that room. So we're trying to model it and make it as real as possible so anyone can participate. It's fully easy to do, and everyone can feel safe when they're doing so. So there's also a statistical survey that is out in the community right now, getting a lot of responses. We're not quite there yet. The questions are pre-tested. It's a random stratified survey, meaning every single household in Tampa has an equal likelihood of receiving one in the mail. If you do receive one, please fill it out. It's a very important part of our process. If your neighbor says, hey, I got this crazy thing from the city in the mail, please encourage them to fill it out. It becomes the basis of a lot of decision making. As a part of that effort, we we recognize that Tampa is not just one city. Like most great cities, it is a collection of unique and distinct neighborhoods. So we're breaking up the responses or getting statistically valid responses from multiple different zones across the city, 12 different areas, so that we can compare what might be North Tampa versus West Tampa or South versus East. So we'll be able to know that, you know, the needs and priorities of 5B may not be the same as 4C. And one answer might not be the right answer for every place in the city. So we're recognizing unique and distinct differences across the city, and really tailoring a plan that, you know, can actually address different areas. Same goal of serving residents' needs, but it may be different in different places. The online survey, which is on the website, again, if nothing else, if just anyone in your group or family is interested, it's easy to get to. It mirrors the statistical valid survey, same questions. It's just not entirely statistically valid because it's not random stratified, but it is information we look at very thoroughly. We do consolidate it, and it is an integral part of, you know, our decision making. So if nothing else, visit there, but we encourage you to go to the website. Anyone who has not joined this meeting, please encourage your friends. So I'm asking you to be not only participants, but advocates. This is the phase of the work where we most hear from people. We do encourage people to continue to participate as the process goes on into visioning and implementation. But this is where we really need to hear everybody's needs and priorities. So that's the overview. With that, I'll kind of pause here and we'll take some questions. So John, if you can kind of moderate this and see who raises their hands, who wants to go first?
We've got one hand up. We're going to go with Andrew. So Andrew, I'm going to unmute you, and we look forward to hearing your comments.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Thanks for joining us.
Great, thanks. So I'm actually calling you from Seminole Heights, and you said that virtual room that you have there on your website model a rec center in Seminole Heights, yeah?
Well, somewhat. It was modeled after it. The actual room is much more detailed. That was actually kind of cluttered. So
oh, yeah.
we did same windows, same things. Yeah.
So what rec center is that?
I think that's it.
Should be Seminole Heights Recreation Center.
You mean the Wayne C. Pappy Recreation Center?
Yes, I think those are the same places.
Right, because you probably, I'm assuming, because you guys are doing some research, you found out that the Wayne C. Pappy Recreation Center used to be called Seminole Heights Recreation Center back in 1979 when it was our recreation center. Then in 1980, as the neighborhood kind of went down a bit of a spiral, the city decided to turn that into a gymnastics center. And it's not our recreation center anymore. And then you might ask, well, what is the recreation center in Seminole Heights? Well, that's the only recreation center inside of Seminole Heights is one at Henry Nola Park. And that's the recreation center my son goes to, my 8-year-old Cosmo. He's been going there for the last 3 years for after school and summer camp. Now, as recreation centers go, it's not really a great one. It's 768 square feet, and it's a trailer, not even a real building. And so, when COVID hit about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, they closed down my rec center. It was one of a handful that remained closed for 1.5 years, 18 months. Now, when we asked why it was closed, they said because the building was too small. Now, Henry Nola Park is actually a really large park. It's the 9th largest of all 26 rec centers. 9th largest, big, huge piece of land, about 12 acres. But the rec center, again, 768 square feet, the smallest, and it's a trailer. There are no other trailers that are the main classrooms for any rec center park. So we were really upset about this because, the families around here rely on that rec center. It's part of what makes us resilient and sustainable, right? Well, when we went to the city and talked to the councilman and talked to Sharisha Hills, head of Parks and Rec, and we begged and we pleaded, we had several meetings about reopening our rec center and giving them alternatives, ideas about how to do that, because it was really affecting the families that used it. They said, there's nothing we can do. We don't have any money in the budget. Well, that was about 6 months in. And then about 6 months after that, we found out that there were all these announcements about all these upgrades to other parks. So the new Tampa Rec Center, which is 20,000 square feet, got an additional 5,000 square feet while we were asking for a little money to open our park, and we were closed. And then we found out that the Freedom Playground, the best playground in all of Tampa at McFarland Park, well, that got upgraded too. And that got an all new play area. And then shortly after that, big announcement about Williams Park and an expansion there. So when they told us they didn't have money, well, that sounded like they were lying to us. So I asked the Councilman Maniscalco, my councilman here, Councilman Dingfelder, guys, when we were pleading and asking you for money and you said you had none, what is this? Why did you spend all this money at these parks that already had so much? And they said, Andrew, this was decided before COVID hit. And I said to them, well, hey, when you were deciding this, we were still 768 square feet with no amenities. To which they answered, well, we just don't know. So Henry Nola Rec Center is my priority, so much so that I got together with my association here, OSHNA, headed by Tim Keyport, and we created a survey. And I personally, with a friend, delivered about 700 door to door because we couldn't put them in mailboxes because that's illegal. We got 500 responses, and each response, all responses, the majority said, we need more amenities. We need a rec center, an actual building of 3,000 to 5,000 square feet at Henry Nola Park. Now, we gave these to Brad Suter. And I attended all of the master plan, essentially 90% of the master plan meetings that were held before COVID, stood there, listened to everybody talk, just to get a better sense of what people needed. Sounds like they need a lot of maintenance. What I'm asking for is a whole new rec center and additional amenities. Now you have the data. They've been given to Parks and Rec. We're asking for you to act on that because the Wayne C. Pappy was taken away in 1980. In 2003, Angus Goss, our community park, our community's pool was closed because of disrepair. The history of Parks and Rec when it comes to Seminole Heights is poor. And it's taking stuff away and not giving it back. So closing us for 18 months was nothing new. Like you talk about resiliency, sustainability in the face of the pandemics, I'm asking you guys to take a look at our park, take a look at our rec center, and you tell me how resilient we can be, how sustainable can we be when you close our rec center and give us very little. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Andrew, and we'll certainly take that note and provide that information. We hear you.
All right.
Someone
Next,
else?
yep. Next, we'll go to Shai Johnson.
Hello?
Oh, sorry. We're going to go with Shai Johnson next. You're unmuted.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi there. Hey.
Thank you for hosting this. I have to say, I'm from a town in Connecticut, and we didn't have all these awesome parks. So I'm so happy to see that Tampa has so many parks and is looking to improve them. And I'm not knocking my home state either because I love it there too. But I'm excited to hear about this. But I live in Beach Park. And I was excited to see that when I found out about your surveys, there was nowhere really for me to put specifically about the neighborhood park I was talking about. So I don't live too far from Swan Circle, and there's a little park there. I don't know if it's a beach park or I don't even know what this park is called, but there's some green space there, and there's lots of kids here. People go there to take pictures. It's it's a place that people come to walk to, but there's a lot of families here like mine. I have two small ones. And I noticed in other areas of South Tampa, like all the little communities have a little park, like an actual playground or something. And we have nothing within walking distance here. So I just wanted to make that plea. If there's some consideration for doing something there, I think it would attract a lot of families.
Can you be specific about the location of that green space? I mean, is it
So
like at two streets?
it's like if you're I don't you know where Trader Joe's is, that's Swan, right? And you're heading towards West Shore. If you stay on Swan and you head towards West Shore, there's a roundabout. And in that roundabout, there's a green space. So it's between West Shore and Kennedy. There's a little
Okay.
area.
Okay.
Okay, we'll make note of that.
Yeah, if
Part
you
of
see on
our-
your map there, it says West Swan Avenue, and there's that green little circle. That's the park I'm talking about.
Yeah, part of our evaluation is, and part of that homework we did in phase one was we analyzed, the desire is to have a park within a 10-minute walk of every home.
Oh, awesome.
So we
Well, that
did
would be
one-
a fantastic, I think, space. And I know people come there to take photos from other neighborhoods. So I think it would serve a lot of people. I know this is a very long-term plan. My kids are 11 and 2, but 11 months and 2, but we'd love to have a park there. And I also want to just thank you guys for everything you're doing and the city for all the great parks that we have and all the improvements that are on the horizon.
That's our intent. That's our hope. Thank you for your comments. Anything else?
Yes, now we're going to go to Chrissy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, and you're Mr. Crumpton?
Yeah.
All right, so good evening, and everyone. I like to do little, write it down, so I might sound a little scripted, and I apologize. It's just a way for me to stay focused on my points. So my name is Chrissy Taylor, and I am the co-chair of the Angus R. Goss Committee, and I am speaking to you today on behalf of the Angus R. Goss Committee since my chairman Beverly Morrow could not be here. So I want to personally thank you for hosting this virtual meeting and giving the Tampa community the input into our Parks and Recreations Department. So first, before I get started, I'd like to briefly tell you a little history of our World War II war hero, Angus R. Goss. Angus R. Goss was born and raised in Tampa. He went to Hillsborough High School, where he eventually graduated. He joined the Marines at the age of 20 in 1930, where he served until he died in the Battle of Tulagi. And the story goes pretty much that on August 10th, 1942, after lobbing 2 blocks of TNT into one particularly well-defended cave, Goss was severely wounded when the enemy tossed the explosives back at him, and completely incensed and despite his injuries, grabbed a Riesling submachine gun, hobbled his way back into the cave, and single-handedly took out every one of the enemy occupants. And that following year, on July 20th, Goss was killed in action in an unsuccessful attack on the island of New Georgia during the Battle of Baroka. And for his heroism on Tulagi on August 10th, 1942, Goss was awarded the Navy Cross, as well as the Conspicuous Gallantry Medal bestowed by the United Kingdom. He's also initially nominated for the Medal of Honor, but the stateside board downgraded the nomination to the Navy Cross, and Goss was killed before he ever learned of his awards. Additional awards: World War II Victory Medal, Navy Cross, 2 Purple Hearts, Combat Action Ribbon, American Campaign Medal, Marine Corps Presidential Unit Citation, Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, and the Marine Corps Expeditionary Medal, as well as having the USS Goss Destroyer. So a destroyer was actually named after him. So this pool was built in 1962 to memorialize our war hero, Angus R. Goss. This is a memorial pool named in his honor since his body was left in New Solomon Islands in a makeshift grave where he died in action. And I tell you these things so you can understand the gravity of what this pool meant when it was named in his honor. So now let's get to logistics. 1, this pool has served the Hillsborough High School swimming team for over 50 years. They used it for swim meets and practices where they would just walk down the street and access the pool safely. Now they have to use their own transportation and go almost 10 miles away to practice at Copeland. And because of this, attendance in the swim club program has gone down dramatically. The Hillsborough High School swimming coach said that he would have increased attendance again if the pool was to be reinstated its original location. In addition, it was widely used by the Memorial Middle School, which is located directly across from the Angus Argos. 2, this pool has served the underserved for years. This pool was built in this exact location for anyone who needed safe accessibility in the Seminole Heights area, north, south, east, or west, and especially for our low-income minority children. We know that having a stay and play program reduces crime, especially in pools are instituted in urban areas. We also know that disproportionately low-income minority children are the least to know how to swim, and we are in a peninsula surrounded by water, and it is life-saving to know how to swim in our great state of Florida. It is a disservice to our low-income minority children to not have pools safely accessible for them to learn. 3, our community has grown exponentially. We have over 3 multi-unit apartment buildings with no pools, mind you. We also have 2 new multi-unit townhouses priced at $500,000 to start, being constructed and sold, as well as an explosion of new homes, in addition to our old bungalow-style homes being redone and sold within days of being listed. The amount of families coming into our neighborhood is overwhelming. 4, we already have a commitment from a well-known family in Tampa to donate $10,000 once construction has started on the pool, as well as recently receiving a $500 donation from a local Seminole Heights resident. We have overwhelming support for this pool to be reopened in its location where it was originally built. And we continue to confirm our support by the continuous positive responses from our surveys, petitions, and fundraisers. And finally, the Angus Argos Memorial Pool has fostered, hope you can still hear me, an amazing community, because all that grew up here all swam together at some point, and this pool is the foundation for the community atmosphere you see in Seminole Heights today. It has almost been 5 years since I joined the Angus Argos pool committee. My kids were 1 when I joined. They will be turning 6 in August. It is time for the city to put their money where their mouth is. With all the new revenue and taxes being generated in Tampa, we need to be Semper Fi, always faithful, as the Marines say, and honor our fallen World War II hero, Angus Argos. We have had 2 fundraisers with overwhelming support from local business community members, as well as independent donations to keep our endeavors alive. And I want to make a quick note. I wish the best for Henry and Ola in their request. However, we want to reopen the pool in its original location. I know that they had done a survey and there was talk about a pool, but we do want to make sure that the pool, when we are requesting this, that it is to be in its original location. We have been working on this for 5 years, and we do not want to be confused or attached to an agenda or additional request that's been asked within the last year. So I just wanted to clarify. I wish them the best. I know they need that rec center. I just want to make it clear, we want this pool reopened in its original location. So please, so please, let's do the right thing. Let's reopen this pool. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Well, we can certainly hear your passion for it. And, we are the messengers. We're here to listen, report to the decision makers are, what you say. So we hear you, and hopefully provide guidance on, what the best course of action is. It certainly does rely on funding. So we've heard you loud and clear. You're not the first. So we appreciate your comments and your passion.
Thank you.
All right, next we're going to go to Amy.
Hi, thank you so much for your time. I have a quick question before I get started. Is there anyone here from the Park and Recs department, or is it just the company that they've hired to kind of redo and push this vision?
It's just us,
Just
just
you.
the company.
Okay, so
So speak freely.
oh yeah, trust me, I am. I am new to South Seminole Heights. I just moved in from West Chase, originally from Kansas City, Missouri. Number one, I was blown away with how much the city of Tampa offers. Living in West Chase, you kind of are so disconnected from the Tampa city limits that I did not realize all of the things that they have to offer. But we just recently joined our community center, Cyrus Green, off at MLK, because that is the closest community center with the pool to South Seminole Heights, with also a workout facility, even though that is not what I would have considered a spectacular space for exercise. I have a few suggestions that will definitely kind of help bring the community together. First, I noticed that the Parks and Recs has amazing programs for K through 12 and for what they call the active adults, which are 55 and older. But the demographic between 18 and 49, there are no community programs, no bingo nights, no movie night, game nights, nothing. And with the way that society is structured now, a lot of people work from home. I own a homeschool virtual company in Hillsborough County. There are over 20,000 homeschooling families. Most of those are with stay-at-home moms. I guarantee you they would appreciate if there were some programs that they could attend while their children are attending something different, because they don't have ways to make friends outside of the traditional church groups, and that's usually about it because they don't work. So having a community center that addresses the middle part of your population, and having programs would be greatly appreciated. And in my opinion, I can't believe it's been overlooked. With that being said as well, the only place for the active adults is at the McFarland Park Community Center. I don't know the official name of that center. Which is kind of sad because, again, I live in South Seminole Heights. There should be programs available in multiple centers and not allocated to just one neighborhood or one place, because our mass transportation in Tampa, especially if you live east of Nebraska, is less to be desired to get to some of these locations. Speaking of our mass transportation, a little side note, it would be nice if there was a way to buy bus passes located at the community centers to also help boost using the transportation, but I won't go into that because I know that's not your department. My next point is, I did not realize every community center has different things going on. It would be nice that when you join the community center, which by the way was only $15 for the year, I was blown away by the price, so I appreciate that. There should be some booklet that talks about every community center, their hours, the programs they offer, some one place where we can thumb through, because if we have to travel to different places to access different amenities, we need to know what those are. That being said, I was looking for some exercise classes, workout classes, and I also was looking for the ability to work out before 6 p.m., which you cannot do during the summer because it's summer camp. So all the workout rooms are closed because the kids are in the building. The only place available was down off of, what is that, Inner Bay by the water past Bayshore. That is, even though they say they are part of Parks and Rec, I don't know if people know this, they have a separate membership, which is $150 a year. Plus you have to pay for the classes, but they are in a Parks and Rec building, but they offer separate membership. I find that quite suspicious as to why it is so exclusionary to everyone. It really does eliminate a certain demographic, the low income demographic, maybe minorities, people who don't have transportation to drive all the way basically to McDill to go work out. So if that is your only option, either get rid of their extra fee, or you need to add classes to multiple locations, would be my suggestion. And the last thing that I would like to say, as someone who lives in South Seminole Heights, it would be amazing if we could have that pool back. When we first moved over here, and we've only been here a year and a couple of months, the pool sign was there, and now it's just grass. Very disappointed to find out that there was a pool there, that there's not a pool now. I had no idea there was a Angus Gross, I think Goss committee that was trying to get the pool back. So I'm excited to hear that. But the fact that that committee's been around for 5 years and the only thing I see now is grass is letting me know that what the people want is falling on deaf ears. And I'm hoping with the fact that South Seminole Heights is being gentrified, with the fact that we got 800 square foot houses going for $500,000, hopefully money talks and you guys will start gentrifying the area and put some of these amenities back, because it's ridiculous that there is no community center and they're in a trailer. It's ridiculous the pool is gone. But if you go north, if you go south of MLK and look at Tampa Heights and all this, where you guys are gentrifying the area, they have more amenities than their population can embrace. So I know that Seminole Heights is changing. If you want to be able to make sure that the core of Tampa stays at $500,000, our now average median house is now $300,000. And a lot of that is due to the growth right here in the Seminole Heights area. If you want to be able to maintain that, that means that your property taxes are going up and all of that, then I suggest that you take it seriously and put the amenities back if that's what the people are asking for. It is absolutely ridiculous that they've been asking for something for 5 years and it's fallen on deaf ears, when I know for a fact some of these things didn't even exist that are getting built up. So there's no excuse for why that hasn't been completed. So I don't know who Chrissy is, but I do appreciate your efforts in trying to get the pool back, because that pool is literally walking distance from my house, and it would be amazing if we had that amenity in that space. That is all I have. Thank you so much. Please relay this back, but I plan on contacting the Parks and Rec people directly, because it blows my mind that they're having a Park and Rec meeting and there's no one from Parks and Recs here to represent. That makes me think that they're really not taking this seriously, and this is more just a performative thing than an actual thing they want to implement.
Well, I do have to speak to that, because it was on my advice that they're not. We find that people are more direct and more open if there isn't a person. So it was at my suggestion that they're not here. So don't blame them for that. It's purely that we think people are more open and honest when they don't feel they're talking to people they may have to interact with later. So we're supposed to be the impartial people listening and providing them the information.
I appreciate that, but I'm not one to shy away. I don't like dealing with middlemen. If you're not the decision maker and this is a meeting about decisions, then I prefer to speak to the decision maker. So at the very least, they can give me some stump answer to tell me that they're at least looking into it. But I appreciate it. I have no doubt that you will convey what you're hearing here. But I'm a little concerned about how serious the city of the Park and Recs are going to take that request. Again, I had no idea they've been working on trying to get a pool for 5 years. One pool for 5 years. I lived in Tampa, and I watched the Riverwalk come about in almost that amount of time. So there's no excuse for that. That is just a will issue. That's not a money issue. That is them not valuing the people that are asking for that, because that's not part of their vision until they start. And the only reason they're paying attention to the Seminole Heights, especially the South Seminole Heights in that central area, is because you're running out of housing in the Tampa Heights and downtown. So you're moving more and more north. And that's why you're gentrifying up here, but you don't have any amenities to justify $500,000 homes.
Okay, we definitely hear you. This is recorded. We will be providing a summary of each of these for consideration. And we do try and, convey a very straight recommendation.
I appreciate that. And my final question, I don't want to monopolize everyone's time, but my final question is, what is your plan for the Seminole Heights area directly? Do you have anything that you guys have? I know you did your exploring and your learning. What did you learn, and what are you thinking to do for our area?
Oh, that's premature. I mean, we're going to continue with public input through August. So it won't be till September before we've heard everyone. We try and report across all the different things we're trying to do. This is people's top priorities. This is what we heard. So we don't make decisions on what, again, back to, this isn't my plan. We try to have it directly derivative of what we hear.
Okay. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, now we're going to go to Jan.
Hi, I just wanted to say thanks, as everybody else has said. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, but I'm in Wellswood, which is it's sandwiched in between Seminole Heights and West Tampa. I grew up in West Tampa, and I've lived in Wellswood almost 50 years. I've been a member of our civic association. I've been a community activist off and on. I heard Beverly Morrow's name mentioned as it related to the pool, because she's been around as long as I have, I'm sure. And I stepped away, and now I've stepped back again into our Parks and Rec issues, because we're all passionate about quality of life for the intergenerations of our community. And the Civic Center can only give us so much, and we know that it revolves around budgets, and we sometimes don't know how to ask for funding. So I believe that every year that we've requested funding for our activity center, we've been slow in requesting money to improve our parks department in our community. I've tried to be involved since 1999 with this, and I've seen us come from a shed to 2 mobile trailers, and then they just improved our little park area. So we have a building upstairs and downstairs for kids and programs and a small computer room, but we are falling short on staffing. So there's limited access for the community to appreciate and enjoy it. And the biggest part of this is our city of Tampa purchased this small church building on that same area in between Mendenhall Elementary and the playground. A little church building was purchased, and I left this in the comments also, y'all. But this building, much like it was an old church building, and we just hate to see it deteriorate. And it was already given status as a Wellswood Activity Center. So the funding has not been in place for it to be rehabbed. And if you look at McFarland Park and the beautifulness of the senior center there, the programs that are in place, the way it was designed to appeal to that community, you can appreciate the personalization of what that has meant to the community. So like that community, we would like that same approach to Wellswood, so that this building can serve as a, I guess you would refer to it as sort of a lighthouse to bring the intergenerations together through storytelling, through some of the programs that we think would blend the timelines of our community, which really is similar to Seminole Heights and West Tampa, very historical in its background. So if that makes a difference, if that's a buzzword on the preservation side for funding, that's another area for us that we would like to emphasize. But when you mentioned the 10-minute walk around to the park within a home area, I want you to know for 20 years, I've asked for sidewalks in our community. And when you build parks, you also want to think about how do you partner up with that area of the city that does work with the communities on putting these sidewalks together. And because we're older communities, as it's already been indicated, these newer communities are getting wonderful funding. And we know the importance of that to their communities having what they need, but these old communities have waited and waited for wonderful things like that to take place. I look at McFarland, I look at Hyde Park, which I know the Kate Center over there has just done great with all the different programs for the generational ages. And one of the girls mentioned the adult programs, 55 plus, and we don't have anything like that in this community. I pay to go down the street to the Jewish Community Center to do my exercises and swim and all that stuff. But, you know, I'm fighting for Wellswood because our Civic Association has requested funding this year finally, and I've been requesting it for 5 years once I realized that the city bought the building. So that's just where we stand right now. I want to thank you again for trying to pull us all together. West Tampa, you know, this area number 6, I guess, is all lumped in there together. And whoever can scream the loudest or, you know, find a way in to speak to councilmen, I think that always helps. But to have a plan put in place and see something come together like you've done for Norfolk or one of the larger cities, Tampa is number 2 right now when it comes to attracting new people to our state and to the country. I heard it was Tulsa and Tampa in the run this morning on NPR for wonderful new businesses and new entrepreneur people coming in. So I really just want to, you know, encourage the property values, as you know, are going up, just like I'm echoing what everybody else has already said. But the passion is there, you feel it. But like I said, Wellswood has somehow gotten forgotten about. And I do want to compliment our city of Tampa staff. The Parks and Rec's hands are tied. I know Brad Suter over a period of time has talked to me. I know John Allen has talked to me. They all hear us, but their hands are tied as well. So I want to compliment them for listening and doing their best and giving us their time. But really, that's where we stand. I really would like to see Wellswood have a minimum funding to get that building open and we just have a new NFL sponsored community garden. Imagine, just got that put in February. And so all eyes were on Wellswood. The mayor came over and did a ribbon cutting for us just a month ago. What excitement it was for this community. And, you know, we feel excited that we have leadership. And that's what we really need right now to get us into this next level of living. So again, I'm part of that generation that has come from very little to see what we have now, the property values, the small, you know, we live simple, but we need great programs and we need people to be able to share with the generations behind them. So I think it is important to recognize that from our end. I mean, there's so much to look at, but I would say look at Wellswood one more time and give us a chance, you know.
Okay, we appreciate your comments. We'll certainly make note of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going with Cynthia.
Hi, this is Cynthia Lemons. I'm here with Chrissy Taylor today, representing the Angus R. Goss Memorial Pool Committee. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, loud and
Okay.
clear.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll be brief. Thank you for letting me speak. This week and last week on District 5, meeting. I did follow up and send the survey that was conducted by the pool committee last September. And I just want to briefly go over a summary of that since we have outstanding support on this call for the pool. Just to say that this survey was conducted between September 2nd and 28th of last year. 646 community members completed the survey. So that was 646, almost 500 surveys returned. It was clear by the outpouring of support that this effort is as much about restoring the community as it is about rebuilding a structure. This survey represents an estimated 850 individuals across all age groups from 11 neighborhoods inside and surrounding Seminole Heights. Interest from the neighboring communities included East Tampa, Riverside Heights, Tampa Heights, and Wellswood, to name a few. This survey was two-pronged in that, based on recommendations we received from the University of South Florida's Center for Community Design and Research, that we should not only be advocating for a pool, but advocating for a multi-purpose facility in order to have enough services to keep this a sustainable amenity. So in short, the survey showed that in support of the pool, the majority of responses supported a solar-powered, heated outdoor pool with plenty of shade that is open after work. The top 4 programs selected were freestyle and lap swimming, water aerobics, movies at the pool, and swim lessons. Most of the other programs selected were at a rate of 20% higher and will be advocated for by the pool committee. Regarding the multi-purpose facility, the majority of responses supported a mixed use facility, including to be included with the pool. The top four programs in that category were fitness programs, exercise equipment, food trucks, and senior programs. All other programs selected were at a rate of 24% or higher. And I'll wrap up, but I do want to mention the recommendations that we received when we met with the sustainability architects at USF were that they did support the multi-purpose facility with the pool to be located at its existing location because of the proximity to the library and also to the surrounding schools. Memorial, which is directly across the street, Hillsborough, again, directly across the street, and 3 other elementary schools that are within the Seminole Heights community. They felt that this was necessary to provide the community with a plethora of services because you are grouping the pool in an area in a central community hub that we can collaborate with the library and we can collaborate with the schools and therefore provide more services that are more in sync with what is needed by the community. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for the outpouring of support on this call. If you're new to us, we're easily found on Facebook, and it's if you just search Angus R. Goss, that's Goss, you'll find our Facebook page. Please message us there. Or for those of you that know Beverly, please contact Beverly. Because of recent interest again from the Hillsborough High School Alumni Association and giving us another $500 cash award for our building fund. We will be reopening another online fundraiser this month. So please go to our Facebook page and message us and we'll get all that information to you. Also, the survey results, which were submitted to the Parks and Recreation Department both in January and again last week as part of this outreach program. The review of that deck is available to anyone who wants to see it. please contact us again on our Facebook page. And thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you for your input. It's very helpful.
All right, next we're going to go to James.
James?
I'm a reaching for you.
Hello? We can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time. Gentlemen, I've been with City of Tampa Park and Recreation just over 30 years. Have invested a lifetime, it feels like, of training inner city youth in Taekwondo. I've had kids from MLK, Kate Jackson, and now with the assistance of John Allen and Lisa Bryant, I'm enjoying quality time over at Hunt. I'd like to see your group be able to find more ways to show advertising for the success of our athletes. Every year since my program has been in existence, we've had state champions. Even with COVID happening recently, in March, they ran state championships still for Taekwondo, and we had 17 champions come out of this little program. So every year, my guys usually work on getting together with parents. We try to do fundraisers. We're doing car washes, garage sales, because I've got a lot of kids that love the program, but they honestly can't afford the program. If I've got a kid that wants to train and they can't pay for a class, I'll do that. I'll give the city their part and I'll still train them. But when it's time to go to nationals, sometimes it takes that extra effort. So, it's been harder with the heat and people afraid to come out with COVID. So this year we didn't take anybody to nationals. Partly, of course, everybody's afraid of travel, but I'd like to see some kind of scholarship program in place to help those inner city youth that really can't afford it, but they've put in the effort and they've won it, like our regionals, our national pre-qualifiers. I just think it'd be great for the city to be able to publicize. They've got state champions. When we come out and we go to the major events, you get kids that come from schools that pay hundreds of dollars a month to train. They don't expect Park and Rec to fare with them. They call us a club, yet we beat the crap out of people that pay hundreds of dollars a month. And then our guys can't make nationals. Just keep us in mind. Anything with a scholarship program, let me know what we need to do to qualify. I've got an awesome group of parents that follow me everywhere. And I appreciate your time. But again, I want to say a thank you to John Allen, because when COVID tried to shut us down, he found spots for us to bounce, man. He found staff members willing to help us out. And again, you get a program 30 years. I've got kids that have grown up, got married, and are bringing back their kids. And I feel blessed to be able to do that. And I thank you for your help. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's kind of nice when you can train the parents and still be there when they bring their kids back.
I know it feels crazy that I'm still here. I ran into somebody the other day that trained with me when they were 4. And, he's grown and he's got a 4-year-old. He's like, "Oh, Master White, you're still here. Good."
It's a legacy.
But I thank you guys.
Well, we're here to listen. Who else? Do I see 4 more on there, Drew?
Just got one. I'm not sure whose name this is, but I'm going to go ahead and unmute. So if you could just go ahead and let us know who you are, and your comment would be great. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Jeff Jankiewicz, and I thought this conversation today and meeting was outstanding to hear things about the community. I might be in the right church, but the wrong pew, in that I'm down in the Channelside district and moved to Tampa a couple of years ago, and have some experience in this kind of things that all the people were talking about today. My issue is that through this vehicle, I was hoping to let the people know that in the Channelside District, according to the master plan, we're supposed to have 10 acres of land set aside for parks. We currently have one, and the area is being built up. Land is in very short supply now. And there's obviously no talk of park and rec centers or anything like that yet. However, we'd appreciate if this consulting group could go ahead and let the city know, and maybe, I don't know if the city has a measurement scheme that for each of the areas, how much space is supposed to be allocated for parks and recreation centers and things like that. Like in our master plan, it's specified what's supposed to happen, but it's just not happening, and land is really at a premium. So I wish everybody good luck with their endeavors, and they sound a little bit more needy than ours even, but we could use some help with this land situation.
When you say master plan, which master plan are you referring to?
Okay, there was a master plan for the development of Channelside.
Okay.
It was around 2005, in that era, maybe 2004. And right now we're getting a lot of high rises, and obviously the tax base is going up just like all around the city. And what we're ending up is we just have high rises and mid rises and no open space. We have a couple playgrounds, one playground at least, and a couple small dog parks right now. But humans don't have any green space right now, or very little.
Okay, so that was part of the Channelside CRA master plan, or was that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and actually what it does, and it's probably similar for the other areas, I'm not sure, there's obviously a lot more people are experienced than I am in the Tampa environment, but there is usually a number of acres per thousands of people that are in an area that are supposed to be designated for parks, playgrounds, rec centers, things like that. And I don't know what the situation is for the other areas that are on the call, but ours is, we have one and we're supposed to have 10 acres set aside, and that's like 9 more football fields. And right now I can hardly see 9 more football fields, if that, available land in the whole area.
Okay, that's another thing we can look at.
And thank you, everybody. I appreciated everybody's comments, and it sounds like there's some great things going on in Tampa.
Well, I will say this has been a very productive meeting. Still taking comments, but people are very attuned to their neighborhoods and communities, very passionate about needs and priorities. So to us, this is very good.
I just heard about this today, so I thought I'd jump on the call. So
Well, glad you heard about it.
We appreciate it.
Somebody sent me an email.
All right. Next, we're going to go to Taylor.
Hey, good evening, everybody. So I live in the Riverside Heights neighborhood, which is south of MLK, north of Columbus, and borders the Hillsborough River. We actually have 3 parks in our neighborhood. We have Freedom Park, Plymouth Park, and Riverside Park. Riverside Park has a couple of basketball courts there, but I do know that there's some hopes in the neighborhood of increasing the utilization at some of those parks. I know that it's a lot of green space. One of them has a small jungle gym. I think it would be nice to incorporate maybe a dog park or an extra amenity or two, just so that residents in that area don't actually have to leave via car if they want to take their dog out or play pickleball or something like that, to keep the neighborhood pretty walkable. I also think just kind of more generally with the Parks Department, I think we should use our parks as a transportation hubs and think about how they connect to other parks and other areas of interest with walking and biking and other modes of transportation. And I know another commenter earlier said bus passes. So kind of taking a comprehensive look at that. But thank you for your time. And that's my comments.
Okay, yeah, very well taken. And we certainly do look at connectivity to parks as a part of the parks themselves. Okay, we still have time. Who's next, Drew?
We currently don't have any hands raised, so if anyone else wants to speak up, feel free to raise your hand and we'll get you in there.
Well, the group so far hasn't been shy, but if there's anyone shy that's been waiting, this is the chance. Well, hearing none, again, this has been, I think the meetings are getting better and better, but this has certainly been one of the most focused of our workshops. We've got a lot of great comments, very pointed, very, clear what the desire is. I appreciate everybody's time tonight. Do trust that this is the process. We are trying to be an impartial third person, trying to hear everyone, impassionately, clearly, and provide recommendations to the city. I do encourage everyone, there's clearly a lot of expressed needs. As this process moves forward, and as we go to our visioning phase and our implementation phase, and ultimately I'll be in front of the city council, stay engaged. Those things, the most powerful thing is when I go to give the final presentation and the room is full. That makes a difference. So for all of your ideas, we're trying to get them very clear, but the last request is that you stay engaged. I'm yourtampaparksplan.com. Please stay attuned to that, follow up on what your interests are, and help us to push through what it is that you feel is very important. Any other questions or comments?
We just got one hand raised, Joe. I'm going to go to Amy.
I just wanted to say I appreciate your time. What can we do to help support you so we can help get some of these initiatives addressed? Is there anything that we can do as the people other than voting for the right city council people that will address these issues? But you mentioned, I heard someone say that, Parks and Recs, their hands are tied and different things of that nature. I'm new again to the city of Tampa. Can you explain to me a little bit of who makes the decisions as far as what community centers go where and what the budget looks like for Parks and Recs and things of that nature? What does that actually look like? And then what can we do as a community to probably be a little bit more effective in getting our voices heard and most importantly, the agenda met?
Well, I think just as I said, staying engaged in this process, doing a master plan was a big effort by the Parks Department to try and focus attention on parks. That, whenever, how do decisions get made? It's the same in every city. We do elect people that have to make hard decisions. And whenever, what do they say? The opposite of a small truth is a falsehood. The opposite of a big truth is another big truth. There's always competing interests. Every time Parks Department goes to, we need a lot more money, well, there's schools and there's police and there's others. So staying engaged in this process, participating when we have the visioning workshops, participating when we have the implementation workshops, making sure your voice stays true to this process is probably the number one. I don't try and point people to elected officials, but in the end, those officials are sometimes forced with making hard decisions between competing citywide interests.
Okay.
So if they have to choose between police protection and parks, or they have to choose between new water lines and something else, you know, it isn't unlimited. There may be choices in the end where, you know, where's the money going to come from?
Exactly. I definitely understand that. I will do a little side note. Our police department, our Tampa PD, their budget is about 3 times more than Parks and Recs and everything else that the city does. I mean, their budget is astronomical. Their budget is bigger than Hillsborough County Schools budget. That's crazy. Not the district itself, but you know what I'm saying? It's crazy that the police department has so much money. So I hope nothing's getting deferred to help put more money in their budget.
I should have chose something else, but I'm not here. I'm not negative to the police department, but you understand infrastructure is a priority, water and sewer is a priority. There's lots of other things. It's just.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I understand.
Yeah.
I just was wondering, is there
I wasn't
something?
singling out the police.
I understand. I understand, but they're the number one line item on the budget. But I do appreciate your time, and I definitely will stay engaged. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, coming up on 8 o'clock. Again, thank you for all of your passion, your thoughts, your time. We greatly appreciate your investment in this process, and your ideas will be recorded. They are part of, you know, what we will report. So thanks again, and good night to everyone.
Thank you, everyone.